All right. Rangers versus Tampa. Game 1. Eastern Conference Finals. This is going to be the opposite. The opposite of Oilers and Avalanche. I'm expecting, I called it on the stream tonight. Let's just say it right now. 3-2 Rangers in double overtime with Panarin with the winner. Why not? Let's just make it up as we go along. Now, in terms of what each team is going to do, I say this. I said this before, I say it again. Tampa, the way they played the Panthers, with the clogging up in the neutral zone and that entire thing. I know that they were right. They felt like that gave them an advantage over how we play. So if they would have played open, running gun style hockey, that puts the Panthers in the advantage there. So what Tampa did was just shut everything down and try to win games 1-0 and 2-1, etc. And that puts Tampa at an advantage because Panthers do not play well that way. I don't believe they're going to try the same style against the Rangers because that's how the Rangers play, is 1-0, 2-1 type. The Rangers will try to win those kind of games, whereas Tampa is also capable of playing a little bit of a run and gun style. So while I don't think it's going to be wide open, I do not think Tampa's going to clog up the neutral zone the way they did against the Panthers. I believe they feel with a little bit more of an open style that will actually benefit Tampa. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Shesterkin, and we all know that Tampa Bay feels complete confidence in Vasilevsky, and why shouldn't they? So, what can the Rangers do? Shesterkin's going to have to be lights out. They've got to stay out of the box. Got to stay out of the box. Power play for Tampa Bay is absolutely deadly. It's an equalizer when you got these two teams that, I'm not saying they're evenly matched, but in an evenly matched game, Tampa Bay power play is just deadly, like I said. So that's got to be the key. And I know that sounds simplistic, but if the Rangers don't stay out of the box, nothing else is going to matter. We'll just put it that way. So that's how they cannot lose. How can they win? It's very, very tough to come up with a path. To be honest with you, if I was Gerard Gallant, I would employ the same strategy that Tampa employed against the Panthers. I would shut everything down, clog up the neutral zone, and try to win games 2-1. That would be what I would try to do. I know my buddy Nick thought maybe be more aggressive and be more, go get them. I'm not quite sure that's going to work. I think that would actually kind of fall into the way Tampa is going to want to play. One thing's for sure, we're going to find out really, really early if Tampa's rusty or if they're ready to go. It's probably going to be a little bit of both. Those first 10 minutes are going to be important for the Rangers to try to get an early goal or two against Vasilevsky. I know how it sounds. At least end the first period with the lead. You can't end that first period behind because that's going to give Tampa a ton of confidence going into the game. So, going into the rest of the game. So, all right. Let's do 7 games, shall we? All right, so 1-1 after 1. Good period of play. Good period of play. Now Tampa did not start off well at all. Sergachev, there was a 2-on-1. Sergachev got beat, and Hedman did something he doesn't normally do, which is make a defensive mistake. He saw Sergachev getting beat, or was it Kucherov or Sergachev? It may have been Kucherov. Yeah, I think it was Kucherov getting beat, and Hedman just left his man, left Kreider wide open in front of the net, and obviously you know what's going to happen there. So it was 1-0, and then not too long after that, Stamkos with a seeing eye. It wasn't like a bullet. Shesterkin was a little bit screened. You could tell there's a couple guys in front of him, got traffic in front of him. Stamkos ties the game. It's 1-1, and for the rest of the period, Tampa Bay kind of carried the play a little bit. Then the Rangers had a power play. They didn't score, but that might have evened the momentum out a little bit. Tampa Bay is not doing what they did against the Panthers. They're not clogging the zone the way. It's not wide open like it is in the West, but they look much more like what they played against Toronto. So I guess the whole shut it down, clogging the zone. That was just special for my Panthers to get rid of them. So I don't know how my Panthers are going to ever overcome that, but that's a different story. Right now, if I'm a Ranger fan, okay. You would have kind of hoped to be off to a lead here. Tampa looked a little bit rusty the first 5-8 minutes of the game, but they're gonna the wheels are turning. They're fine. The layoff is not going to hurt them. So move on to the second period. Like I said, 2-2 with a 3-2 overtime win. Don't look so far off right now. Well, if you had Frankfurt Toronto getting 1 and Hedel getting 2 in the second period of Game 1 against Vasilevsky, raise your hand. That would be none of you. So, all right. I take it back. In the last period, I said Tampa didn't look like the layoff affected them. This ain't the team that played the Panthers. We'll put it that way. It's just not good. It's a disorganized mess. They're coasting. I see them looking like they've lost their wheels. Will they get them back? Most likely. But right now, Tampa looks like a team that hasn't played in 9 days. There wasn't that much of a disparity in the first period, but now that the Rangers have their legs under them, it's pretty obvious that Tampa doesn't. And Vasilevsky's not, Tampa Bay depends on Vasilevsky to be stone cold, and that ain't happening right now. The Toronto goal was not great. They've got the work cut out for them, Tampa Bay. Now, Frankfurt Toronto, speaking of Toronto, I said in my preview that Toronto was going to play a big part. In fact, the one I did with Nick from Twisted Wrister, I said Toronto was going to be key to this series for New York because he could either A, get hot and score goals, or B, take stupid penalties. Right now, there's no penalties. Right now, Tampa Bay has not been on the power play. And Toronto not only got the goal, but he saved a goal with a massive back check on a 2-on-1 just about a minute before he scored. So, good news there for Ranger fans. Now, for the rest of this game, nothing good can happen for New York, and here's why. It's 4-2. You're 4-2 at home in Game 1 in the playoffs against a team that hasn't played in 9 games. At this point, you have to expect that you're winning this game. This is a must-win at this point. The point being that nothing good can happen because you've kind of already should win this game. If somehow Tampa Bay comes back and wins this game, that would just pretty much obliterate the Rangers' chances. Because if the Rangers want to win this series, you got to have Game 1, and it's right there on a silver platter for you. I do not expect Tampa Bay to go out quietly, though. I have a feeling they're going to get a mouthful from Cooper during the second period, and they didn't win 2 cups by just laying down, and they don't look good up to this point. They didn't look so bad in the first. That was a bad period, but champions respond. So what you doing, Tampa? Well, that looked like a Gerard Gallant coach hockey team who's in sync and been playing every other night versus a Tampa Bay team who hasn't played in 9 days and who believes, it doesn't really matter. We can always win wherever and whenever we need to. So that was lopsided. That was an ugly, lopsided. Ugly. It wasn't pretty like last night with the Oilers and Avalanche. That was pretty. This was very, very lopsided, completely unexpected. Now I knew, kind of had a feeling that the time off would have some effect on Tampa, either good or bad. Clearly, the longer the game went on, you could see how out of sync they were. And it just goes to illustrate, when people say you can't recreate game situations in practice, you clearly can't. Their passes were off. They were just, out of sync, just absolutely out of sync. Vasilevsky, not optimal, not good. But we've seen that as a Panther fan. We've seen that every once in a while. We'll have one of those games where we'll get 4 or 5 against Vasilevsky. That said, good game, Rangers. Good game, Rangers. Now, for Rangers fans, don't get ahead of yourself. This is Tampa, okay? In the playoffs, I think it's 862 straight times now that when Tampa loses, they win the next game. All right? I fully expect a different Lightning team out there on the ice. What's today? Wednesday, so that'll be Friday. All right? It's going to be completely different. What I'm interested in seeing is if they revert back to the style that they played against the Panthers. Now, whatever the hell they were trying to do tonight, they weren't doing it. It's really, really interesting to see I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but Tampa's the ones that should have had the speed and the legs because they're rested, right? And the Rangers are the ones that should look a step behind because they should be worn out from playing every night, right? They've had 2 7-game series. They've had to play a lot of hard hockey coming back in these series, and Tampa's been at home resting, and you would think that would give Tampa an advantage in at least the legs and the speed department. But that's not what happened tonight. They were a half step behind all night long. So I'm really wondering, I'm very curious if Cooper's going to say, okay, maybe opening up some of this ice wasn't a good idea, and they go back to the clogging the neutral zone style in Game 2. Because from what I saw tonight, look, you can only play that open style if your goaltender is going to be lights out, because you're going to give the other team opportunities. And on the other end of that, Shesterkin, I think Tampa had 35 shots. I believe that's what I saw at the end there, was 35, 34 shots in favor of Tampa. So he's played well, obviously. So while I agree with the theory that they kind of went into this game with thinking if they played a little bit more of an open style that they should be able to win the game, not if all your passes are off and you don't have your legs and your speed. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what Cooper does. Not quite sure what I would do if I was in his, because you don't want to go down 0-2. I think honestly, if I was Cooper for Game 2, I would play lockdown like you did against the Panthers. Try to even up the series and then get back home and then maybe see if you can open it up. So be interesting to see, and don't discount Gallant. And that's the one thing I complained about with Brunette that you're going to get with Gallant. And that is Gerard Gallant knows how to make in-game adjustments, in-series adjustments. If only the Panthers could get a coach like Gerard Gallant. Yeah. So, the point being, don't get me started. Don't get me started. I'm talking to myself now. Now, the point is, 2 good coaches. You're going to see a lot of switching back and forth, I think, between styles, inside the series between these 2 coaches. This was not a good game. This was a terrible game for Tampa. However, it's just one. It's just one. Rangers fans, I beg you, don't get ahead of yourselves. Not yet, please. Okay? You get up 2-0 in this series. You be the first team to beat the Lightning 2 games in a row in the playoffs since I had hair. All right? So then you can get excited. But in the meantime, you're going to have to come. To be honest, if I'm the Rangers, I almost come prepared with 2 game plans. I would almost come prepared with 2 game plans. If I'm Gallant, I'm saying, all right, look, if they come back and they're still doing a little bit more of an open ice thing, we know what we're doing. But I would have a game plan in place that if you get into the first period and Tampa decides to clog the neutral zone, I would have something ready that these guys know, all right, if Tampa does this, this is what we're going to do. That is something that absolutely crushed the Panthers. We got completely, and this illustrated it tonight. This illustrated how badly the Panthers got outcoached. Because, so now, I don't want to say, let's put it this way. Tampa obviously didn't have it tonight. But at the same point, Gallant was able to get his team to take advantage of that. And you just saw the energy level of the Rangers. Looked just like the energy level of the Vegas Knights. And then it looked just like the energy level of the Panthers when Gallant was a coach. You see what I'm saying here? Coaching matters. I know some people think it doesn't. I think it does. My opinion. My opinion. Just the guy that plays with puppets in his basement. It's just my opinion. So, all right. Appreciate all the support. Live stream really, really well tonight. For those of you new to the channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button. Take a look around. We have a lot of fun. It's not your typical hockey channel. I do a live stream 1 hour before each game, the rest of the way with the playoffs and obviously the finals. That's a pregame live stream. If you're interested in post-game, if you're interested in in-game commentary, if you'd like to watch that on YouTube, Twisted Wrister Hockey does a really good job with that. He does it during the game. I do it pregame. It's a good match. Now, Stu and I will be back tomorrow morning. Hopefully no technical difficulties tomorrow. All right, let's get through that. And then Oilers, Avalanche. I'm loving this every day. I don't know what I'm going to do when hockey stops. No, I do. I actually have said I'm going to get a GoPro and we're going to go fishing together. That's what we're going to do. All right? So, send money. GoPros are more expensive than I remember. But I already opened up my mouth and said I was going to do it, so I'll do it. But that's what we're going to do. We're still going to do all the hockey content, don't get me wrong. But yeah, once or twice a week I'm going to put the kayak in, and I'm going to go try some different fishing spots, and we'll see if we can't catch something. What the hell, right? All right, appreciate all the support. I'll see you guys again in the morning with Stu.